Hey guys, my name's Dave. Parents always tell us not to get mixed up in the wrong crowd. This is why you should listen to them. When I first started high school, I was kind of an outcast. I didn't really fit in. We had just moved from a little farm town to the big city. It was quite the culture shock. I used to get bullied for my accent and the clothes I would wear. Luckily though, I became friends with some of the other outcasts. There was Bill, who was a ginger, Lance, who was a mathlete, and Greg, who had a prosthetic leg. But none of that mattered to us. We all had fun together. We always sat at the same table during lunch, hung out at my place after school, and Lance even talked us into doing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign with him. That summer was so much fun. But then, sophomore year started and everything changed. My dad got a big promotion at work. We were able to afford a whole new wardrobe for me for the school year. I was so pumped. I was going to make this year my year. Or so I thought. When I got on the bus that day, I sat in my usual spot next to my friends. But they looked confused. Turns out they didn't even recognize me at first. It was kind of embarrassing telling them I got a bunch of new clothes for the new school year. But my friends weren't the only ones that didn't recognize me. A lot of my classmates didn't either. They were all surprised when I told them I've been going here for over a year. Apparently there's a rumor going around that I was a new transfer student. But a lot of people started coming up to me and talking to me. It was kind of cool. Even with all the new attention, I was still sitting at my usual table with my friends at lunch. That was until one day the popular kids gave our table a visit. Usually when this happened, they take our food or bully us. But today, the strangest thing happened. They actually invited me to sit with them. They said I was too cool to be with these other losers, but those losers were my friends. I was so conflicted. But then I remembered how I was going to make this year my year. I couldn't let an opportunity like this pass me by. I said, yeah, let's ditch these losers. I couldn't look back at my friends. I felt too guilty. Things at the popular table were a lot different. Half the time they were just making fun of other people. The other half, they were talking about all the parties they went to recently and how drunk they got. They asked me if I partied too, and I just scoffed and said, yeah, of course. But the only parties I've been to were birthday parties. After school, my parents asked me where my friends were, since we usually came home together. I told them that we weren't friends anymore, and I kept it at that. The next few weeks were strange. Everyone around me was happy and having fun. I wasn't, but I still had to act that way to fit in. One day, a bunch of the popular guys were in the bathroom, ditching class like usual. This time, they were passing around a cigarette. I never smoked before, but I was in too deep to say no. It was so nasty, I started coughing. They told me to be quiet and started making fun of me, calling me a wuss. That's when the principal came bursting through the door. The cigarette was still lit in my hand. I was stunned. I couldn't believe this was happening. We all got sent to the principal's office. We had to go in one by one so they could figure out who got the cigarettes in the first place. Since I was the one caught holding it, a lot of the suspicion was on me anyway. I expected the worst. Apparently the other guys blamed it on me. They said the whole thing was my idea. It was a matter of being outnumbered. They called my parents. Not only was I suspended for 3 weeks, I was grounded for a month. In that time, I felt like an idiot for abandoning my friends to hang out with the popular kids that didn't even like me. About a week into my suspension, my friends must have heard about what happened, because one night they showed up to my house all dressed in their Dungeons and Dragons costumes and asked if I still wanted to be a part of the campaign. I felt like crying. I missed them so much. We spent the rest of the night in my basement playing Dungeons and Dragons, trying and failing to keep quiet so my parents wouldn't catch us. I was still grounded after all. But I don't think they would have minded that I was back with my old friends. I'll never take them for granted again. Like and subscribe, y'all. Leave a comment if you want your story featured on one of our videos. Share with a friend. Yee!